Luka made his debut for the Los Angeles Lakers. 1 million players got injured. Michael Bolton, is it just another standard Monday?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and as melon scratchers go, that's a honeydoodle. And I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Go check out lockedondaily.com, and you find the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. That's lockedondaily.com. Also, double bang, hit the thumb on the video, do that, and also thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We're free, and we're available on all platforms. Okay, it was Monday, and we had LaMelo Ball, Larry Nance, Moussa Diabate, Daniel Gafford, Vic Krejci, and a million other players that I'm not even mentioning that got hurt and some significant injuries, who knows. Weird stuff. It's the week, 4 days before the All-Star break. This is going to be a crazy and wild week. We know this is going to happen. Let's talk about it. It's International Day of Women and Girls in Science as well, so shout out to all the women and girls in science today. I know there's some of you that are watching this, so shout out to you guys. Should we get into a little bit of news just to kick things off? Just two little things I want to talk about. All-Star replacements were named, replacing Anthony Davis and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Kyrie Irving is in for AD, and Trae Young is replacing Giannis. We'll see if there's any other absences that are going to occur, but that's where we're at with that. And then we had Alex Len was supposed to sign with the Pacers to become the, after he got bought out by the Wizards, he was going to be the backup after they've lost Wiseman and Isaiah Jackson and challenged Thomas Bryant because he's terrible. But now that's not happening anymore. The Pacers actually signed Jahlil Okafor. Yeah, the big fella's back. He's there on a 10-day. And Len, I don't know, maybe heading to the Lakers? Dallas can't sign him, by the way. Dallas has absolutely no room to sign anybody under the hard cap until late March is what I believe it was, thanks to Keith Smith from Spotrac for that, because that's when the minimum salary drops down enough that you can fit it under the cap. So they actually can't do anything, the Mavericks, even though they've got no centers available. So Len maybe is an option to go to the Lakers to be someone who I guess is the backup to Jaxson Hayes, because obviously things are not great with the center spot over there. Let's take a look at the most added and most dropped players off the fantasy basketball waiver wire over the last 48 hours. We'll start with the most added players here. Number one is Jaxson Hayes. Because of that aforementioned problem, there's no centers in LA. Hayes might not be a game changer, and he's not. He very clearly isn't, but he's at least somewhat serviceable when you're looking for a center and there's no competition for his minutes. I don't hate it. The second most added one there is Gary Trent, and I would not for a million years want to trust Gary Trent on my team. I get it. There can be stream value for him, but otherwise I don't trust it. Aaron Wiggins moved back to the bench today, but he's cooking as usual. There is a situation with the Thunder, of course, with multiple players out. It bumps what he can do, but when those guys return, I have very limited faith that Wiggins is going to do enough to be a 12-team league guy. Nick Smith, yep, we know that the Dalton Connect situation connects back with the Lakers, so Smith probably just has unfettered access to be a 12-team option, or at least a starter. I don't mind it. Steph Castle, we'll talk about the weirdness of his game later on. People have added him on the back of a big scoring night. I get that. And then Bub Carrington, we'll also talk about some of the issues with Bub in the Wizards game later on. The most dropped players, number one there is Dalton Connect. Totally understand. You added him because of the trade. The trade is rescinded. You drop him. Next one is Carlo Makovic. Now, we'll talk also about that because he started today's game. Although I don't think that's a permanent thing. I think it's okay if you dropped him if you wanted to. Andrew Nembhard, I get it. I think he probably should be rostered, but also whatever. Lonzo Ball, people panicking because he sat out today. Points leagues, I get it. Category leagues, I wouldn't have done that. Goga Badadze, yep, we'll talk more about that later as well. I think that is reasonable. And then Derek Jones, also reasonable. He is, to me, just a stream option and not a must-roster player. There is so much for us to get into, so we'll start with looking at Game 1. It is the Atlanta Hawks and your Orlando Magic. The Hawks win, again, undefeated. Since the trade deadline, 112-106, the Hawks get the win. they did go back to Mohamed Ayuge, and he started over George Niang. So we didn't know about this because Gay went back to the G League, or just was inactive the last game because they wanted him to play back-to-back-to-back. Niang started. He was pretty good, but it was back to Gay. Now, does that mean that we need to be adding Gay? I don't think so, because look, while it's interesting that he started, he played 15 minutes. 2 steals and a block is interesting. 2 threes is interesting. But he played 15 minutes. So it's intriguing. The thing that's different here is that both Larry Nance and Vit Krejci both were ruled out for the game within about 20 seconds of each other. Krejci lost, or had a back issue. I don't think he's as serious. Nance looked like a knee injury, couldn't really put much weight on his leg. That could be serious. Now, I don't know what they're doing with Clint Capella. I know they're not playing him. Are they committed to that? Are they just like, Clint, you're done for the year. We're not playing you. Will you come back in and play if Nance is out? Or can Gay just take the backup center minutes? Or does the Trojan Domi Bala get those minutes? There are numerous different ways the Hawks can run this. So Gay and Barlow both flash really interesting fantasy games. We just need 26 minutes from them. And I don't know that that's happening yet. Dyson Daniels had 10 points, but he had 4 steals and a block, so that's great. And Trae Young shot poorly, which is a pretty common story, but 19, 5, and 8. It was also a monster from Dracaris Levert. Last game he played like 16 minutes. This game, 32. 18 and 8 with 3 threes for Levert. Now, again, it does help that Krejci and Nance went down, and I don't think Krejci's is a long-term thing. But Levert can have these hot streaks. You don't mind trying it out when it happens, but overall, they've got a pretty bad schedule coming up, and I'm not sure that he's absolutely any sort of must. What I do feel pretty confident about saying is that at this point, right now, this point in time, Zach Ricochet is not good.
Get that garbage out of here.
Ricochet played 18 minutes. 11, 2, and 4. That's not terrible, but they played him 18 minutes. They've played him 23 minutes the last couple of games. He's not doing enough to be a 12-team league player. You would have thought, with everybody clearing out, with everybody getting injured, they said, all right, let's go, Zach. No, they're saying, just do less. We don't actually want to see this. And that's not ideal. I don't believe that you need to look at Ricochet as a must-roster player. Obviously not Terrence Mann either. And then Georgie Niang played 24 minutes. He had 8 and 4. So, that's an automatic drop for Niang. But if Nance is out, and that means that Gay needs to play more center, well, Niang will play more power forward. And if he gets 28, then we're interested. I'm not there yet, but it is. Let's wait to see what we get information-wise on Larry before we get over the top. For the Magic, they were rolling out the same starting lineup. Cole Anthony had 7 points in 18 minutes. He did have 2 steals. Mr. Black played a lot of minutes, 34 minutes, and had 6 points. He is just one of the worst permanent fantasy players who you think should be good at fantasy. Because he can rebound a little bit as a point guard. He gets some steals. He blocks some shots. But there's just nothing there ever. 33 from the field, 67 from the line. Bro is what? The 234th ranked player this season? And he started lots of games. I don't think you need to mess with that. And I actually think now, this one, very, very clear. Drop Wendell Carter Jr.
Get that garbage out of here.
And I think you got to do it with Goga. Now, Goga did have 4 blocks, but he played 17 minutes. And while he is not getting 25, you can't really do it. Is it still a minutes limit? Or are they just rolling with an Isaac, Goga, Wendell combo? Things aren't really working very well for the Magic, so they could easily go back to 30 for Goga. But remember, we haven't really seen Goga ever play 30 minutes with Franz and Paolo around. I don't think it's happened once, ever. So we have no basis in believing this. We've seen him do it when guys have been out, but we haven't seen it at all this season. So I'm not really married to that idea. We had big numbers from Paolo, 31, 6, and 4. He was a horrific minus 19, though, while Franz had 37, 7, and 3. So good to see those two guys putting up good numbers. We're obviously not messing with KCP or Tristan Da Silva or any of those other dudes. Today's episode is brought to you by Open Phone. Open Phone, if you're a small business manager, owner, you know that your personal phone can morph into your business phone and it can become overwhelming. So many things cracking through to that phone where you're just like, what's personal? What's business? What am I doing? How do I keep up with it? Well, Open Phone comes in as the #1 business phone system designed to keep your work and personal lives separate. For just $15 a month, you get complete transparency and visibility into everything that is happening with your business phone number. Open Phone works through an app on your phone or computer and integrates with tools like HubSpot and hundreds of others. It uses AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, so you get a rundown of your calls and action items the second that you hang up. And right now, OpenPhone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That is openphone.com/LockedOnNBA for 20% off for 6 months. Openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. If you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will also port them over at no additional charge. Okay. Let's go on to the second game of the day. We're talking San Antonio Spurs and the Washington Wizards. Always remember, I'll keep reminding you of this today. We are just before the trade deadline. There is going to be weird stuff go on throughout this week. The Spurs win at 131-121, and it's very easy without diving deep into numbers to look at the numbers that both Jeremy Sohan and Steph Castle put up and go, that's great. We love that. If I said someone had 14, 5, and 3 with 3 steals, and somebody else had 16 points with 3 steals and a block, you'd go, yep, that's a must-add. What are you talking about? But the first one of those was Sohan, who played 21 minutes and shot 86% to get there. The second one of those was Castle, who shot 78% to get there and played under 20 minutes. I've seen Steph Castle play all season in a starting job, play 28 minutes a night, and not be inside the top 200. Definitely not top 150. So I'm not going to look at what he did there, and it is great. And the last couple of games were solid. I'm not going to feel excited about adding him. If you want to take flyers on it, go for it. Absolutely go for it. But I don't see these numbers as things that really look sustainable. And the same with Sohan, who I actually like more than Castle as a player, but not doing enough, not playing enough. Wemby had 31 and 15, 3 blocks, 5 threes, elite stuff. Fox had 30 with 4 and 6, great stuff with 18 free throw attempts. And then we saw the pencil, Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. Didn't work. I think I am washed. I think my vocal cords are cooked. I remember if you ever go back and watch some of my old shows, like the old shows, my voice is, yeah, it's a bit more like this. And yeah, what do you think, you guys coming in here? And I think this guy's a must-add. Or you go back to the very early videos and I'm there going, yeah, I'm not really sure how this stuff works out. And we'll have to monitor it pretty closely to see the minutes. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. And now I'm just sitting here like Metro Boomin this voice. And shout out Metro Boomin. And yeah, it's very different anyway. That's just self-reflection. Reflections of... all right, where are we at? I've lost my place. Oh yeah, the Spurs. Vassell, 7 points, 31 minutes. Not very good. Not very good. But don't do anything silly. Don't drop. Don't panic. If you're in an 8-team league, I can see why you would move on from Vassell, right? He's still challenged with Fox in the starting lineup for usage, but the minutes are fine. Sohan and Castle didn't take him away. Just didn't shoot well, 22%. Just a rough overall night from Devin Vassell. People, for some reason, are holding on to the horse Keldon Johnson. Are you guys okay? What is happening? Why is he 25% rostered in 12-team leagues? What are you doing? For the love of absolute God, please, drop him. What is happening? I don't say anyone's a must-drop player, but this is garbage. What are you doing? Please, for the absolute love of God, get rid of him. It makes no sense. It is actually infuriating me that he continues to be rostered. For the Wizards, Keyshawn George returned. That meant that Justin Champagnie, the Battle of the Champagnies, Justin moved back to the bench. And let's talk about Keyshawn George because we featured him a lot. He's been one of the hottest pickups. We talked about him on the Waiver Wire show. And we talked about the fact that Kyle Kuzma is gone and the idea was that the usage would open up. And I said it hasn't. The usage has not opened up. The minutes have. The usage has not. And we had 11 points in this game on still 16% usage. 11, 7, and 3 is not a disaster game from him at all. He still had a steal, but he shot 30%. He'd been shooting 65%, which was making things look great. He is fine to roster. And the same goes for Bub. 10, 4, and 5, 40%, 19 usage. These guys have had opportunities. Now, it is different with Kuzma not there, absolutely. But this is not really making their usage tick up that much. These guys have had starting chances all season. They've squandered them at times, but they've had the chances. But something is just not happening where the usage is rising. If you want to hold them, by all means, that is okay to do. But I think this is a good reality check of I guess it's not just sunshine lollipops all the way through. Champagnie is a better per minute player, but to be fair to him, or to be fair to the others, he got his big line, 14 and 5 with 2 threes, shooting 83%, which won't stick. While Alex Sarr is out, Rashawn Holmes is a good stream, 17 and 4 on 89%, and we're going to get excited about it. I know you are. And there's going to be tweets and threads and Reddits and Instagrams about it. But Tristan Vukcevic, 18 and 6, 2 threes, steal and a block. I love that. I've said this all along about Vukcevic. I think he's going to have run and maybe even get some 12-team stream value in March when they convert his two-way contract and they let him run. I think he's got a real chance of being the backup center the rest of the season. But remember, Alex Sarr did not play here. There is not this level of production coming for Vukcevic every game. He has been the backup center the last 3 games and done nothing. I like him a lot. I think they should be trying to see what he can do. I think there is a chance he can play next to Sarr at times. But he shot 70%, including 2 of 3 on threes to get this number here. And still only played 20 minutes. I like him a lot. I believe he holds minutes over Holmes. But I don't think that it's a 12-team league situation. Jordan Poole had 16, 6, and 4 with terrible shooting, while Bilal just didn't do very much, did he? Again, it's the same thing, man. Like, Kuzma's gone, but like 10, 3, and 4. 9 shots. Still no Smart or Middleton. They're not really doing enough. They're not really doing anything that's getting me like super excited at all. Now, we go on to the next game. This one was a pretty big ass kicking. The Wolves and the Cavs. Anthony Edwards was back. That meant that Rob Dillingham moved back to the bench. 128-107 the final score. Ant was great. 44 and 6 with 8 threes. A little bit annoying from the line, 77%. Because when you get that volume, you need that to be bigger. Because that really does put you down in that category. Jaden McDaniels, the scoring run and the usage run didn't continue, which is a little frustrating. He had 10 points, but he did have 4 steals, so that's good news. While the Wizard of Naz Reid, 10 and 6 with 2 blocks. Again, a rough shooting night for him and many players on this team. Alexander Walker continued to start. He had 6 and 6 in his 26 minutes, while Rob Dillingham had a nice little 13-point boost coming off the bench. He played 23 minutes. This is a blowout, though, and Dillingham was afforded extra. He shot poorly. We don't roster Rob. Alexander Walker is a streamy sort of guy while Conley is out. In this one, Jalen Clark, who played 30 minutes in the last game, didn't get those minutes back. We wanted to see how they were going to use him. He got a steal. That's good. But he's just a deeper league dynasty stash type of player. And Gobert played just 27 minutes in this one. The game was over incredibly early. And honestly, there's really very little you can take away from it. From the Wolves side. What is interesting from the Cavs side is there was no winner soldier Max Strus, which would have been good to know. But he wasn't there, so they started DeAndre Hunter. Hunter played just 23 minutes. He had extreme foul trouble. He did his thing. This is a DeAndre Hunter, isn't it? 12, 1, and 0. He shot 14 times. Didn't he shot 7 times? He had a steal. Sure, if he didn't get into foul trouble, he would have played 30 minutes. But if Strus, Wade, and Okoro played, he wouldn't have played 30 minutes. I don't think you need to hold DeAndre Hunter. Is it a Keldon Johnson where, please, for the love of God, get him off your team? No. But if there is an opportunity to do something different, I don't think Hunter is going to be able to hold enough value to be a guy to roster. Ty Jerome was very good again. 15, 2, and 4 with a steal. He's producing enough value to be at least a 14-team league guy. I don't think he's a must in 12s, but there's nothing wrong with that if you want it. But again, Strus, Wade, Okoro, all of these guys are going to come back and play. And that means Jerome won't play 24 a night. Donnie Mitchell had 23, 3, and 8. Mobley had 28 and 10, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 4 blocks, which is just a ridiculously good game. And Garlow struggled with a shot, 14 shot attempts, 17 points with 4 threes, but overall, they cooked him. We also got 29 Slam and Sammy Merrill minutes. He hit 3 threes for 9 points, but again, not a lot to really get into or dig into with that game. Now we go to one of the weirder games of the day, the Charlotte Hornets and the Brooklyn Nets. Shams just reporting now that the Hornets are investigating with the league whether they have any recourse to challenge the failed physical assessment from the trade from the Lakers. So, who knows? Who knows what is going on here? The wording is Charlotte Hornets have been in contact with the NBA as they explore options to dispute the Los Angeles Lakers' failed physical assessment of Mark Williams. Sources tell ESPN the Williams-Dalton Connect trade, shout out Cam Reddish, was nixed Saturday, and now the Hornets weigh avenues to challenge. So, I have no idea what to do with that. I don't know what is going to happen. Were they going to force it back through? I have no idea. I have no idea what this means. I have no idea where we go from here or what's going to go on. It's just frustrating. And then, to make matters even more confusing, we had LaMelo Ball sprain his other ankle. Not the one that's been bothering him. The other one. And he left early. And Moussa Diabate, who was questionable heading into the game, left, again, because of the eye injury. Let's start with Diabate. 27 minutes, 21 and 10 with 2 blocks. He shot 82% and actually shot the ball. We just hold on to him. Absolutely, we hold on to him. Yusuf Nurkic was allegedly available to play, but he did not. So I don't know what we do with him. If you've got him, maybe it's a soft hold, but we're holding Diabate. KJ Simpson, I don't mind grabbing him. There's no way that LaMelo plays the rest this week. And then the Hornets come out of next week with a Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back. Who knows? We'll find out about Ball, I'm guessing, soon. KJ had 9, 9, and 4. Well, Nick Smith continued his solid enough run. 13 points, 36 minutes, 5 assists, 1 steal. We actually finally, for the first time ever, got a good game out of Tijan Salin. 27 minutes for Salin. He had 16 points. He had 6 rebounds. He had 2 steals and 1 block. He still can't shoot, but he could be someone who has some value at some point. I don't think we're here. I don't think we're adding him outside of like 16 or 18 teamers, but he's at least a name to watch. Taj Gibson played the backup role here. There's still just so much uncertainty with this squad that once we get more info on it, well, we'll find out. But it feels like nothing is going to be sorted with this before the All-Star break, so you're at least rolling with Diabate right now and Nick Smith right now as like Connect and Williams are just sort of held in limbo until we figure out like what's going on. On the Nets side of things, they rolled the same starting lineup out there and they won. What's it? Their 6th win out of their last 7 games. Nick Claxton played only 24 minutes, right? He was pretty good. 16 and 4, 2 steals and 2 blocks. It looks like he actually is trying now. But the guy to watch here is Day'Ron Sharpe. Sharpe played 19 minutes. He had 14 and 9 with a block. If he ever gets to start, he will be a top 40-ish fantasy guy. These are huge numbers, and we love to see that. I don't know that you need to hold on to D'Angelo Russell. 11, 3, and 4 is nothing bad, but they just don't play him. He played 23 minutes. He's not terrible, obviously. He can put up numbers, but they're not committed to playing him at all. Keon Johnson, he'd been playing well. He shot 17%. He had 5 points. I would try to hold him, but his upside is limited by the inconsistencies. And then we had Cam Johnson with only 25 minutes. I don't think we need to drop Cam Johnson, but like I said the other day on the trade deadline show, I think he loses a ton of value by not being traded because they're going to do this to him and they're going to play him low minutes. Zaire Williams had 11, 5, and 3, which is again fine. Jalen Wilson was less than fine. In fact, he was terrible. 2 points, but they win, and they win again. The other name to watch is going to be Trendon Watford, but that could all be upended when Noah Clowney returns. No Thomas, no Clowney in this one. But it is interesting that they're playing that well. Just the Johnsons and Russells, they're not pumping big minutes into them, and I don't think they will. And that's going to make them... Johnson, I'm holding. Russell, I'm not certain that you need to do it, honestly, because, well, we're seeing it now. Like, he's not doing enough in these minutes. Like, if he ever gets 30, then of course you're going to look dumb if you drop him. But that is a risky thing to do. It's a risky thing to drop him. But it is trending towards that way. The next game, the Boston Celtics handled the Miami Heat. 103-85, the final score. Porzingis was back. That meant Luke Cornett went to the bench. And slamming Sammy Hauser started over Jaylen Brown, who was injured. Tatum had 33 and 8 with 4 threes. Good for him. Al Horford, another big game. He's had a couple of big ones lately. I don't trust it at all. But he started in this game too. 16 and 10 with 4 threes with Drew Holiday remaining out. And Derek White continues to have some struggles. He played big minutes, so that's encouraging. But 13, 4, and 7 for White. While Hauser hit 5 threes, that's what he does. He had 15 points with 5 triples. 36 minutes for Peyton Pritchard with these guys out. He had 5 points. He did have 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals. Pritchard, to me, remains like a fringy guy, although he's been much better than that over the last 2 weeks. Prior to that, he'd been struggling. And I think he's sort of around 120-ish sort of a player, which is fine for some leagues, but not like a high upside guy. Porzingis had 17 and 9 with 2 blocks, but overall, there's not a lot happening on the Celtics side of things because, yeah, they're the Celtics. The thing that we do need to look at is the Miami Heat because there were some different things happening here. Andrew Wiggins arrived. But he wasn't the only traded player that started because Davion Mitchell started and Tyler Hero was out with a sore tummy. So was Jaime Jaquez Jr. So we still don't fully know how it's all going to play out. Mitchell was his usual self. And by that, I mean he had 4 points on 25% shooting. He did have 4 assists, but we do not care to roster him. We still got 27 Khalil Mayer minutes. 8 and 7 is not very good. He shot poorly. I am holding him, but he is pulling back a little bit here. And then Bam had 22 and 12. And the surprise starter, because Spo can't do anything without surprising us, he decided that Alec Burks was going to move into the starting lineup, and he did. I don't know why. 13 points and 7 rebounds with 3 threes, and that meant Duncan Robinson went to the bench. Cool. Of course he did. Robinson had 5 points. You don't need to roster Robinson. You don't need to roster Burks. Wiggins was like, whatever. Well, actually, that's not true. He shot poorly. But what is encouraging, he played 30 minutes straight away, Andy. 11, 5, and 5, steal block, 25%. He is a must-roster guy. Jovic still got his 27 minutes, 10 and 8. I would consider still holding him. While Rozier lost out here, 9, 3, and 1. Didn't even get the start with with Hero out. I think we're okay if we want to move on from him. Anderson got his 10 minutes, but again, with no Jaquez, with no Hero, it's not a full representation of how this squad is going to roll. Burks, surprise startup, not even guaranteed he plays every night. Wiggins, we roster. Jovic, we roster. Ware, we roster. Rozier, not really. Robinson, not really. Burks, deep leagues maybe, but again, I don't think that the question has been answered about how it all plays out for Miami at this point. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the rest of the games. All right, let's do the next one. A pretty big victory here for the Thunder, 137-101. CJ McCollum was out for personal reasons. Okay. And they went back to Carlo Makovic. Now, last game, we thought Makovic might start, and he didn't. They went with Jose Alvarado, so don't think that this is necessarily a reversal, because it was a replacement for CJ. It is very possible that McCollum plays the next game and Makovic goes back to the bench. So don't think that this, we're back on with Makovic. I'm not believing that just at this point. I'd like to see what happens. And to me, it's between Alvarado and Makovic who gets that spot. But it was encouraging that Carlo got the run here. He played 32 minutes. And he showed why we do have some faith in him as a fantasy guy. Now, he shot poorly. His G League shooting numbers are all really good. They've been terrible in the NBA. 8 points is bad. But he had 9 rebounds. He had 2 assists. He had 3 blocks, and he played 32 minutes. Trey Murphy had 23, 7, and 5 with 4 threes. But of course, if Carlo goes and plays 20 minutes in the next game, it's not worth it. I think he probably needs about 26 minutes, 25 minutes, Carlo, to be a 12-team league player. But I'm not sure we get it. Zion, it feels like they're going to be keeping him on a sub 30-minute limit rest of the season. So be aware of that. 17, 2, and 5 for Williamson, while Yves Missi played 30 minutes. He had 11 and 8, which is like fine. I don't know, how would you view Yves Missi's season? He's not a top 150 player. He's 135th in points leagues. He's outside the top 190 over the last 2 weeks. To me, at this point, there's no massive upside on him. He is okay to roster, but he's like Nick Richards. Alvarado started, 9, 0, and 0. He played only 23 minutes. So I think it was worth grabbing him. He started 2 games in a row, but I am a little worried about which directions they move all this stuff, because the guy that started here, Makovic, was better. Does Makovic start in the next one? I honestly don't know. But again, it's against the Thunder, so random stuff happens. Also, it's a game where Antonio Reeves played 25 minutes. Hawkins had 12, 5, and 3. He might become a threes and points streamer later on, but I don't think we're quite there with him just yet. On the Thunder side of this ledger, they brought back Chet Holmgren, they brought back Lou Dort, so Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins went to the bench, but as we know, it's another one of these games where they cooked him. So Wiggins was still great, but again, I don't believe in this. It is very easy for us to look at it and go, Aaron Wiggins is the 58th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. Because that's undeniable. That is true. Those numbers have happened. But he shot 69% to get here. He had 3 steals and played 25 minutes. And we have seen Wiggins have hot streaks before. He's a good player. Outside of streaming, I don't think that Wiggins is someone who maintains this level of production. It seems incredibly impossible to do. There was no Wallace in this one and no Joe. It was a blowout and he shot 69%. Everything went in Wiggins' favor as it has the last few. And that's great. All those things happened. Doesn't mean I'm not going to scramble. Man, I can't wait to see where Wiggins is on my wires. I can't see if he's available. Wow, I need to grab him. That's not how I'm viewing it. Shea was great. Again, 31, 3 steals. Jalen Williams had 16, 5, and 5. Chet had another 5 blocks. His block rate is out of control since returning. Hartenstein had 6 and 13. But I don't think we'd really get any indication of how these two are going to work together because A, Chet's on a minutes limit, and B, they won by 35 points. So the minutes are suppressed all over the shop. Not a lot to really get into, I don't think there. I wish we had more. The Wiggins thing is interesting. Caruso was good, 12, 2, and 5 with 2 steals, but outside of streaming, how do we really trust those minutes? Because when Wallace and Joe play, he won't do that much. It still remains very much up in the air, and I don't really think that one taught us a huge amount, to be honest. The next game, the Golden State Warriors on the road beat the Bucks 125-111. Warriors went small. Steve Kerr said he didn't want Quentin Post out there. So it's not Quentin, it's Quinton. Quentin Grimes, Quentin Post. He didn't want him having to guard Damian Lillard pick and rolls. So Post went to the bench. He played similar minutes, 13 and 4 with 3 threes. He's just a deeper league guy, Posty. That meant that Modi Musi moved to the starting lineup. 13 for him in 33 minutes. He had 3 steals and a block. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. John Kuminga remains out, and that's going to mess up a whole bunch of stuff. But that was interesting enough for Moody to be a stream guy. I know that people are going to want to see two players. Brandon Pajemski. They played 32 minutes. He shot horribly. I like the 32 minutes. 9, 9, and 3 with 2 steals. I think he's a 12-teamer. The other one is going to be Bud Hield. And we are at version 5 of the Bud Hield cycle this season? 30 minutes, 16 and 7, 2 threes and 2 steals. An undeniably very good game. The usage is good. The shots are going in. He's doing little bits and pieces. You can grab him absolutely for now. Use him. But we sort of know what's going to happen. When Kuminga comes back and needs to take more shots, yes, they do need Hield spacing. But they also need somebody who can do anything else apart from that one skill that he has. So for now, it is okay to have Bud. I don't think it's a long-term thing. Jimmy Butler's free throw attempts are out of control. He had 20 and 9 with 6 assists, 4 steals, but another 15 free throw attempts. He shot only 33% from the field. These are good numbers. Obviously, it's great. If you've got Jimmy Butler, it's great that he's back. We hope that his body holds up, and maybe this extended time up enables him to be fit and healthy and raring to go. Don't know. Steph was great, 38, 6 and 4 with 6 threes, and there's not much else on this Warriors side of things, I don't think, to talk about. On to the Bucks. No Giannis for them. And there's going to be no Giannis the rest of this week, and maybe even after the All-Star break. We'll see. They rolled out the same starting lineup. That meant that Kyle Kuzma started 21 and 6 in a very Kuz line. No threes, no assists, no steals, no blocks. Bad from the line, but surprisingly, 67% from the field. I think it's okay if you want to roster Kuzma for now. I would have zero interest in rostering Kuzma when Giannis is back. The artist formerly known as the amino acid Torian Prince had 19 and 8 with 5 threes. Good streaming value for deeper leagues, but this is like the pop-off game for him. Don't buy into it. While Lillard played 39 minutes on a back-to-back after 43 yesterday. He had 38, 5 and 7. He is hard carrying, putting up massive numbers. Bob Portis, disappointing. And we talked about Bob Portis yesterday, how he went to the bench and he still was good. But I said, well, what if Brook Lopez doesn't play 24 minutes? Well, I guess that didn't even matter because Lopez played 25 here and Portis had 7 and 7 in 26. You can hold Bob for now. I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing. And wouldn't you know it? Gary Trent, the apple of everyone's eyes on the stream. Could he do it again? No. 7, 2 and 1 in 28 minutes, 43%. No steals. This is Gary Trent. This is who he is. This is why you don't get excited about it. This is why if you hit on a lucky stream, you go, oh my God, I am blessed and I won't do anything else risky today because I'm probably likely to die. That is how the odds would work against me because I got a good Gary Trent game. Not much else going on. We actually got not finally, it's 2 games in, but last game we didn't get any Kevin Porter minutes. We got 10 here, and obviously you don't need to roster cousin Kev because he is not in their plans as things currently stand. The next game, oh my God, the Sacramento Kings and the Dallas Mavericks. We'll start with the Kings. We get an overtime game winner from DeMar DeRozan, 129-128, a huge DeRozan game. 39 minutes, 42, 7 and 3, and he hit 4 threes. That's how you know it's ridiculous. He was also great from the field and great from the line. He has been really disappointing. This was great. Keegan Murray, not much volume, we know that, but 11, 5 and 3, 2 steals and a block, and he played only 30 minutes, and that's important to note. 30 minutes only for Keegan Murray with only 2 fouls because they did once again give more minutes to Keon Ellis. Now, Ellis didn't do anything with him. He played 32, but 8 points, 6 rebounds, 2 threes, and a block. If Keon Ellis plays 30 minutes, you grab him. He is playing 30 minutes. Last game they benched DeRozan. This game they benched Murray. There's no guarantee that Keon Ellis plays 30 minutes a night. No guarantee at all. But they are working into that at the moment. So we got a solid game from Keon in this one. 8 points in those 32 minutes. I think that's worth adding. 42 minutes from Sabonis. 16, 15, and 8. Like, that's a little bit disappointing in terms of overall numbers, but fine. And then Valanciunas, only 18 minutes. We don't need to hold on to Jonas.
Get that garbage out of here.
I know you'll be tempted to because 13 and 8 looks pretty good, but he's just not going to play enough for it to matter. Levine, yeah, the inefficiency's not great at the moment. Or the efficiency's not great. The inefficiency's fine. If you want inefficiency, he's giving it to you. 17 points on 18 shots. 17, 4 and 4 is just like, it's incredibly mid. And Malik Monk played 43 minutes. He had 17, 3, and 8. He was also pretty inefficient. But in the end, they get the win. Not many fantasy takeaways apart from the fact that once again, they got more minutes into Keon Ellis. The fact that Keon Ellis is rostered in fewer leagues than Jonas Valanciunas is a little bit of a surprise to me. I think that needs to flip over. Now, I'm going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, but I'm a little reticent to do it because I don't want like this computer to burn into flames or whatever. I don't want me even saying that word Dallas Mavericks out loud. Is it going to just cause lightning strikes? What is going on? PJ Washington was out. Dante Exum started. Anthony Davis is out. For how long? I've got no idea. Kessler Edwards moved into the starting lineup. And then their only remaining healthy center, Daniel Gafford, lasted 10 minutes. The locker room legend. I said earlier on the injury show, I said, wow, Gafford's just really being kissed on the dick, isn't he? Because every time it looks like things are going to go bad and he gets benched and he plays 15 minutes, the starter gets injured and the next guy gets injured and he gets traded and then they get injured. And he's just somehow able to maintain it. Well, sorry, Dan, but I guess the old dick kissing ended. 10 minutes, 4 points for Gaff, but that doesn't even matter because he suffered a knee injury. It didn't look great. We have no idea how long he is out for. Don't drop him until we find out. He is one of many centers who got injured today. We don't know how long he's out for. But that means that the Mavericks have no centers. That's it. They have no other centers. There's nobody left. PJ Washington didn't even play. Now, he's going to have to be, I'm guessing, their center. The second half, it was Olivier Maxence Prosper who started in place of Gafford. Kyler Kelly played 1 minute as a two-way guy, but they don't have another center. So they're going to have to go with PJ at the 5, which I think means that, yeah, Prosper, maybe it means a lot for Christie. He is a must-roster player. 35 minutes for Max, 15 and 4, 3 threes, 2 steals, and a block. If Davis and Martin and Gafford and Washington were all there, Christie wouldn't have enough to do. But they're not there, so he does, so you add him. Dinwiddie, also, maybe that's going to be worth it. They just have to play who's available. Spencer had 20 points with 3 threes, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Now, I wouldn't feel great about doing that, but it's an option. And then you got Najee Marshall, who can also play a little bit of small ball center. 9, 6, and 5. I would probably add Najee over Prosper and over Dinwiddie, even though it wasn't a great Marshall game, 9 and 6. Kessler Edwards had 2 steals and 2 blocks and whatever. I'd rather Prosper over Edwards, but it's going to be pretty ugly here, I'm guessing. Kyrie had 30 and 9 with 7 assists and 3 steals. And yeah, the pick up there to me is, obviously, if someone dropped PJ, it's him. It's Christie, I think, pretty clearly. And then I would look at Marshall and then maybe Prosper. Maybe. But I don't think that we're getting 34 Prosper minutes every game. I think that PJ obviously takes cuts into that, but Lively's not coming back soon. AD's not coming back soon. Dwight Powell's not coming back soon. Caleb Martin's not coming back soon. Nobody is. So, and they can't sign another center. They are too close to the apron or the hard cap. They can't do it. They can't fit a veteran minimum salary in. And you don't get like exceptions for minimums when you're at the hard cap. It's hard for a reason. You can't go past it. So they are in, some pretty sizable trouble. We'll see. They battled well here, but and we got to hope that the Gafford injury is not a serious one, but they called it a knee sprain, which is not a knee. It's not a knock on the knee. It's not a sore knee, a sprain. I hope that it's not ACL, MCL, whatever. I hope it's not a significant ligament tear. It's bad. It's really quite bad. Let's look at the next game, which was a pretty big destruction from the Nuggets. 146-117 over the Blazers. Jeremy Grant, the Ides of March hit. He didn't play with a sore knee. Scoot Henderson started, and then he went down. I already think that Grant is a drop. I would hold Scoot. He hurt his ankle, and you've got the benefit here of 3 days until an extended break. So you're only missing like a little bit of game time here, like a game on Wednesday, and that's it. You're done. You're okay. So you missed that one game, so I'd hold Scoot. But that's not even all of it, because Deandre Ayton went down with what looked like a pretty significant calf injury. So I would be grabbing, there's a lot of grabs today, I would grab Donovan Clingan. He played 21 minutes. He did play 30 minutes in one game earlier this season. I don't think he's going to do that regularly. He had 21 and 7 on a perfect 8 of 8 shooting. Now again, I will maintain this. I do not think Donovan Clingan is a good real-life player right now. He might become good. I think he becomes a back-end type of center, not a high-end NBA starter. I don't think he becomes that. But now, if Ayton is going to miss, and I'm fairly sure he will, if Ayton is going to miss, Klingon is going to have to be the guy who has to step up. Yes, Rob Williams is still there, but I'm not... Look, Rob Williams, in this game, Ayton went down. Rob Williams wasn't available anyway. He's dealing with his own issues. Klingon is the ad. Klingon is the ad over Christie. I don't think there's really huge debate about that. Klingon is the ad. 21-7, you would hope for more blocks, but whatever. He is the ad. I know that people are going to ask, is Delano Banton happening? Because it happened. He played 28 minutes. And it required 3 things to happen. Grant out, Scoot out, Ayton out. It required all those things to happen. Murray out. We know Banton will put up numbers. If they put him into the rotation, he will play. I would not prioritize Delano Banton over Donovan Klingon. But if we hear that Scoot's going to miss significant time, then yeah, he's in the mix. Interestingly, Denny Avdia played 34 minutes. So the low minutes at all those other games, obviously the wrist not bothering him anymore. So they would just, either the wrist is healed now and he can play the minutes, or they were just choosing to bench him in the other ones. 16, 6, and 8, so the value resuscitates. Shaedon Sharpe, bloody hell. 20 minutes only, with Scoot going down. 11 and 3. Now, because Scoot is out, I would be holding Shaedon, but he has been bad all season. He doesn't have a fantasy-friendly game. And if Scoot and Grant and Ayton weren't hurt here, I would be like, you don't need to roster Shaedon Sharpe. Jabari Walker got the backup minutes a little bit to Dwop Reith as well, but not much to really talk about with those guys. Kamara was whatever, 6 points, 2 steals. Like, not a good game overall, and a lot of questions still to be answered. I would be worried about Ayton, less worried about Scoot, but definitely worried about where Ayton goes from here. Very worried. Klingon the ad. In Denver, they cooked him. Jamal Murray got ejected, doesn't really matter. Jokic only played 3 quarters and had 40 and 7 with 8 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Christian Brown continues to do his best Daniel Gafford impression. He got benched. Played 26 minutes. And then Westbrook got injured, Peyton Watson got injured, and now he plays 37 minutes a night. The benching lasted like 1 game. And I was like, I'm out on this guy. Like, everything has dropped off. The numbers are down. The usage is down. And then injuries hit. He's back up. I look dumb. All good. His numbers are back huge again. 26 and 6. 86%. Absolutely dominating at the moment. But sometimes these things happen. And I know that there'll be someone you said to drop him. I know someone will say that. And you're right, I did. Because I didn't foresee players getting injured. And that is just part of the luck or unluckiness of this game. Stroud got a start. He was all right. 18 points with 2 threes in 35. And Aaron Gordon continues to not really do much. They don't need to push him. They're winning easy. He had 9, 2, and 7 in 24 minutes. I don't think that he's a must-roster player. The other guy that was impressive here is Jalen Pickett. 14, 3, and 9 with 2 steals. That's great. I don't think you want to get excited about it. A blowout. No Westbrook. And I guess Westbrook is out through the break as well. But it's just, Pickett was basically unplayable all of last season. So it is good to see him turn it around and become like a useful enough NBA player. Let's do the last game of the day. Utah. The Lakers. Lowry was back. Svi Mihalik went to the bench. John Collins was back. Michael Potter went to the bench. Jordan Clarkson stayed in the starting lineup. That's okay. Walker Kessler returned. Kyle Filipowski went to the bench. And they still lost by 20. Collins, fine. Good numbers. 36 minutes. Good for you. Walker Kessler, 13 and 12 with a block. Cool. Good stuff. I love it. Larry Markin, only 29 minutes for Larry. Didn't do very much, but we know what's going to happen. These guys are going to be in and out, and in and out, and then eventually they're just going to be out. So anything you can get back for Collins and Markin in particular, next tier down, it's Collins and Clarkson. You do it. Isaiah Collier is going to survive, I think. 13, 3, and 10 remains a must roster. Keontae George, 11, 2, and 8. Shot Pauly remains a must roster. Clarkson's got some streaming value for the moment. 16, 1, and 4. And then all the other guys who are going to have value later on didn't do anything. We had 10 minutes of Kyle Filipowski, 9 points, 2 threes, 2 steals. That's all he was allowed to play. 75% shooting from Filipowski. He is going to make noise. I just don't know when. And I don't think we need to stash. This team is just going to be bad. They're going to be bad. They're going to be annoying. And at some point, we're going to get a bunch of Zhuzhangs out there playing 40 minutes a night, a bunch of EJ Harklesses, and Collier's going to be cooking, and that's what's going to happen. I just don't know when that's going to flip over. The big story, of course, in this game is not Utah and whatever's going on with them. It's the fact that Luka Doncic played for the LA Lakers. I cannot believe. I can't believe it. LeBron was back. Dorian Finney-Smith went to the bench. Luka Doncic played unbelievably. So Gabe Vincent went to the bench. How did the Mavericks trade this guy? Are they normal? I mean, no, obviously not. The dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's hard to judge too much in this game because look how easy it was. Luka played just 24 minutes. He had 14, 5, and 4. Cool. Rui Hachimura, really good game from Rui, 21 and 6. That's a very Rui game though, 21, 6, and 0. He did have 2 steals, but again, how do we judge this game? LeBron, 24, 7, and 8, left with an abdominal issue, came back and sat on the bench. I think he's fine. And then Reeves had 22, 9, and 4. But again, we don't know how to judge it. Reeves' usage was down as we expected. We hold Reeves. We obviously hold LeBron. Jaxson Hayes is the other one that's important to note. 12, 2, and 2. 3 steals, a block, 100% shooting. Oh, okay. I think I would rather Jaxson Hayes than Nick Richards at this point. Remember though, after 3 minutes in this game, Jaxson Hayes got benched for Dorian Finney-Smith. Now he did come back, and I think he's going to have some solid lines. He's not going to be good. He's not going to put up great numbers. I would rather have Donovan Clingan. I would rather have Max Christie. But he's interesting. And then for deeper leagues, Jordan Goodwin. Remember him last year? 22 minutes, 17 and 8 with 2 steals on 73%. That meant that we didn't get as much Gabe Vincent. We didn't get as much Shake Milton. Goodwin just signed. Just those of you in double onyxes, in deeper leagues, you look at Jordan Goodwin because he can put up numbers. It's not going to be this good every game. Come on, we know that. But that was good. And they've got Luka, man. How does it happen? How are you this dumb? Honestly, the dumbest. The dumbest. Let's look at the lines of the night to wrap this big fella up. The monstrous line of the night. It was close. I'm going with Wemby, though. 31, 15, and 4, 2 steals, 3 blocks. He hit 5 triples as well. Jokic was right there. In the end, I'm going with Wemby. Your waiver wire line of the night. It goes to an old fella. The oldest fella, maybe, not quite. It's Al Horford. 16 and 10 with 2 blocks. He's not quite at LeBron's level. He was really good. I don't trust it, even for streaming, but that was good. The young gun non-Wemby division. It's Donovan Clingan. 21 and 7. He 100% from the field. He blocked a shot, and I think we have to add him. As much as I don't think that he's necessarily a great player, we have to add him now. And the dud of the night, well, we go to San Antonio. They're going to bookend this. Devin Vassell, 7 and 3 with 1 assist. I am holding him. It was not very good. He didn't shoot well. It was a little troubling, but I am holding him at this point. And that is the end of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science and of a chaotic NBA day. Gafford, hurt. Krejci, hurt. Nance, hurt. Ball, hurt. Ayton, hurt. Scoot, hurt. And Luka plays for the Lakers. Hit a thumb on the video. Double bang it. Keep the good stuff going, though. Keep the positive vibes going. Remember, there's always something good that we do. You don't have to focus. There's negative stuff. And if you're a Mavs fan, there is negative stuff. The clowns running your team. But that's not everything. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.